Hi there, your neighborhood bad penny, turning up again. All right, I'm uploading a video right now. I don't usually record when I'm uploading, but the inspiration's there, so here we go. The video that's being uploaded is about a misunderstanding and a disagreement that I just had with someone over the internet. And you know how I'm fond of saying everything brings blessing? As I ended that journal, my attitude was definitely a wait and let's see, because even though I couldn't see the blessing in it right in the midst of it, I mean, I just got roundly cursed out by this guy. So I'm seeing a little more clearly now. Now let me share some ideas with you. First of all, this is a very intense day for everyone. And so I hope we'll all cut one another loads and loads of slack. We've stepped into the ninth wave, the very last level of the Mayan calendar. And so that's amped everything up. According to Carl Kalaman, things the same 20 times faster is how things are going to be happening. What used to take about 360 days will now take about 20 to get accomplished. Well, that's good and bad. I mean, but you know me, everything is good. I don't care if it looks bad, it's all good. So let me play around with this. First of all, you'll get from the other journal a little background on how this came about. It was totally accidental. It wasn't intended at all. But, our disagreements, friends, are a lot of times they're like that. They're really and truly just misunderstandings. But when we aren't living in paradise, when everyone isn't yet living in their heart, then egos get in the way, and ego is brittle, mind is brittle, and you know the old thing, if you're convinced that you're right, look out. You're headed for a fall that way. And yet most of us have very many beliefs, including moi, where we're convinced that we're right on this or that. So that's another thing. Hold to your beliefs lightly. I mean, you have to have them. You have to believe that the highway is going to stay there and it's not going to vanish on you, and that the lines don't move. Those ones that go down the middle of the road, you have to have a little faith in that. Now, that's not necessarily true, but that's a pretty solid one. Okay, so beliefs go all over the map. Now, here's the thing. As a result of this interchange, what's the good that would come out of something like that? I mean, his last message, he said he was going to ban me from his site so I couldn't even view his videos anymore. I was really enjoying his videos. It's just bizarre. But okay, so some will say, what possible good could there be in that? Well, as it was going down, I noticed some more of ye old victim consciousness. It was very subtle, but I was feeling put upon. I was feeling, how you feel. You feel like you're right and this other person isn't hearing you. And I was able to look at that and say, hey, whoa, wait a minute, chickie. Let's back off on that energy a bit. So I was able to see into myself some more. And I was able to reject that whole stance, that whole posture. And it doesn't always happen this way, but this time I felt something click. I felt something give. And I think sometimes it happens that these things might come up because you're being tested to see. Now, of course, you're the one in your higher self doing the testing, but you're being tested to see, will you, once and for all, reject a certain sort of energy? You know, a certain sort of play or ploy that life will throw at you. Will you see through it? And will you reject it and say, no, not anymore, not for me, and walk the other way? Sometimes when you do this on whatever the particular energy is, you get sort of like a crown, not literally a gold star, whatever. Sometimes it's a final test that you've passed. Now, that's a funky way to put it, okay? But I'm just using the analogy of life as a schoolroom. And we do. We get an opportunity once we've mastered something. Like if you've mastered quitting smoking, you'll get a real strong desire come on you. Out of the blue, maybe, 2 years after you've quit, to have a smoke. That's an opportunity to reject that and say, no, I'm done with that. And so it doesn't come to harm you in any way. It comes in a way to, give you a grade on your final exam or whatever. So that's one way of looking at it. That's one benefit. What's another benefit? I don't know. I think it's funny. Much ado about nothing is what it amounts to. But it's just, there's nothing negative about life. Everything comes to us just wrapped and bundled in blessings. Now, sometimes they're harder to see than others, like when something supposedly negative has happened. Okay? I won't mention things like earthquakes. That's really too big for us to deal with right now and too emotional. But we can look at these other little things, and life is fractal. And so what works in any one area of life works in all life. As above, so below. It follows as below, so above. Well, it doesn't follow. I'll say it follows. And that's the fractal math. I don't purport to understand. I don't claim to understand the mathematics behind it. I guess it's pretty darn fancy because it wasn't until we got some pretty swift computers and chips able to really do some calculations that the mathematicians were able to present to us and work these complex equations, I guess, these fractals. They're really beautiful. And they're beautiful in what they show us about life. I mean, in a way, and in a very real, legitimate perspective way, all of cosmos is contained within an atom, within an electron, within as small as you can get it. It's all contained there. Yeah, you know me. Life is not what it appears to be. And it's a great deal of fun deconstructing the surface appearances and finding out what's underneath. I mean, for me, I always find that it's love. Okay, now here's another one to try on. We're all one. We're all quantum entangled, all connected in many, many ways, and we block ourselves off from that by putting blinders on of our own ideas, attitudes, and beliefs. And I'm finding as I'm getting rid of mine, my experience broadens out a good bit. And I have some really interesting experiences, which you may have heard about in the journals, okay? I really say that there's going to be a direct correlation in there with beliefs being eliminated and the rest of them held lightly. Now, where was I going? Okay, so as we are one, on the inner dimensions, on the inner planes, our souls volunteer for things that a part of the script and a part of the play that we're in down here says we have to forget when we incarnate. And so we won't remember that. We'll have a contract with this or that soul or situation or whatever, and we'll see it out playing in our life, and we won't have a clue mentally. That's not where that memory is stored. Anyway, also, we volunteer at times without our conscious knowledge, which makes it even more interesting. We volunteer to carry a bit of our brother's load. Okay? Now, what does that look like? Sometimes it can look like letting someone vent, getting into an argument over nothing. Look like getting beat up. Look like, I don't know what. It can look like anything. But sometimes the load that you're carrying, oh, come on, people, we're all one. This whole concept and idea of individual karma at some point has to break down. Because we're all one. And because of the fractal. Look at the fractal image. Look at the Mandelbrot set. You know, just do a start page search on that. I don't say Google anymore. They store your information and give it to the alphabet soup guys when they want it. I don't respect that. Start page does not store your searches or your IP. All right, but anyway, we're all one. So at some point we will find this whole concept of the individual and individual karma breaking down.